What it do, world? This is the legendary Kokane, and I'm kicking it with J Mix.
This is a J Mix exclusive.
Can you tell us about your father and his musical influences on you?
Oh, man, it was a heavy musical influence from Pops. He was a writer, arranger, composer of Motown. His works include such works like Just My Imagination by Temptation, Still Waters Run Deep, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, and the list goes on, man. He was a musical genius. He was somebody that can, you know, not only direct a band, but he also could play like 18 different instruments, man. He was something else, you know?
Absolutely. What was the atmosphere like growing up in a musical family? Is music something you always wanted to do?
Oh, man, it's something that I always just drove to do, you know, ever since I was a shorty and, you know, small, you know, like 5 years old. I can remember walking into a studio and back then seeing a big running board. It was like a big old spaceship, and hearing the music. And we always grew up around soul music around the household, soul music and jazz. So, you know, those type of elements, you know, it just really resonated in my spirit at an early age to do music.
How would you describe your style?
Oh man, my style it's many formulas because, you know, I pay homage to the ones that paved the way, your Parliament, your Gil Scott-Herons, your Curtis Mayfield, and all the way down to jazz breaks from Eubie Blake to Duke Ellington to Ella Fitzgerald to those type of elements, man. It really led the essence, you know. It was that essence that made me gravitate towards that music. And the way my style is, brother, it's all those things like a big pot of gumbo. You can hear anything that you hear from Kokane, you can tell, oh, okay, he's been studying Rick James in the Stone City Band, or Parliament Bootsy Collins. So that type of style is those mixed up. It's kind of like how Brother Martin Luther King, you know, he was the spokesperson for that funk, but it was a lot of people that made up the civil rights movement. So to use that type of scenario, it was a lot of things that made me gravitate and put all these elements into this soul music that I do. And we just turned it around and called it Kokane because when you listen to Kokane, you get hooked. We don't want you to go ahead and get hooked on the cocaine and the drugs. That's why we turned it around and spelled it Kokane way back in the 90s before people were saying they doing, before Jay-Z said he did crack music and different other things like that. You know, we wanted to put out cocaine, like when you hear all these elements and this funk, you can't help but get hooked.
Can you tell us about Above the Law and signing to Ruthless Records?
Yeah, Above the Law, oh man, it's one of the most underrated groups ever. You know, they did a lot of things very instrumental in the sound of the West Coast and the shaping of music in general. A lot of cats followed them brothers. And my cousin Cole 187 of the group Above the Law in 1989, just when they was getting started with Ruthless Records, Eazy-E and Jerry Heller and them, I came along, you know. So once they got put on Ruthless Records and signed on the dotted line, my cousin always said, you know, Jerry, you go. At that time, my name was called Jay Golden because people used to, you know, look at my eyes. My eyes are green, so they called me Jay Golden. It wasn't even cocaine then. So my cousin Cole 187 grabbed me and said, man, I want to take you along with me. But first, we got to do something with that name, man, because that name's kind of corny. I was like, man, what you want to change my name for? But he, you know, I said, what's the name? And he turned around and said, man, it's gonna shock you. I said, what is it? He said, Kokane. Because when you spit people are hooked. You know, so it was that type of epiphany. It was that type of drive that we had. You know what I'm saying, back then. And, you know, he hooked me up with a guy by the name of Laylaw, Larry Goodman, who had a record company called Lawhouse Records. So we did a 3-song demo, and Code 187 and Laylaw took the record to Eazy-E, Eric Wright. So when Eric heard it, it couldn't have been no more than like 2 days. I was on the way the next day to get, you know, pick up my contracts and everything like that, because he was like, wow, Eazy was really happy he signed an artist like Kokane, because it was no secret to Eric about controversy. He knew how to maximize controversy from a marketing standpoint, him and Jerry Heller. And plus the product that he heard from Kokane, you know, he's singing like George Clinton. He's going and, you know, busting like he did. So these are the things that were coming out of Eazy-E. Eazy-E's mouth, like, man, I got my cocaine, man. I got my dope funk dude. So that started my career at Ruthless Records in 1989.
Absolutely. Well, how was your relationship with Eazy-E?
It was magnificent, man. He was one of a kind, bro. You know, see, think about Eazy. He showed people and laid the blueprint down as far as the independent company is concerned. He proved that you can come from a suppressed environment all the way to the corporate board office. You know, he proved you could do all those things and not compromise the integrity of the music to where you come from and how you perceive life. It was just another modern day Marvin Gaye when he said what's going on in the Vietnam War and this different things. Well, according to this season, according to this time, Eric was saying the same thing, and N.W.A. and them was saying the same thing, like fuck the police. It's poor economics. It's more people going to jail. And see, Eric touched on that and maximized that through different other writing talents like Ice Cube, DLC, myself, MC Ran, and the list goes on. And he knew how to cleverly, with Jerry Heller, because you cannot exclude Jerry Heller, they knew how to tap into a market that is going to not just hit them with a rubber bullet, but hit them in a jugular vein. You see what I'm saying? Of social ills and different other things like that from that suppression. And he showed people, if there was no Eazy-E, it wouldn't be no Master P, it wouldn't be no Dr. Dre, it wouldn't be no Ice Cube, not in the likeness that they're living right now. So just knowing him, man, and you feel good around him because it's a new adventure to you. You know, you signing, and then you never had this before. You just got all kind of our white brothers just coming at you, we'll do this, and it's all new to you because you just grew up around a black utopia and you never really seen this. Eric took us out of the ghetto. You see what I'm saying? He took us out of the ghetto, and it felt good because he could still talk our language, but then show us how to deal on a corporate structure. That's what made him, beyond fuck the police and different other things like that, what is the real root to Eric Eazy-E Wright? It's the simple fact that he was an example, just like Obama is an example to the next generation, that you can get up off these things called ghettos and this suppression. You don't have to be held down by anything out there like that. So to make a long story short, you know, I learned so much from that brother, and just watch it from a bird's eye view, man. It's the reason why he's a part of me being just as passionate as I already was blessed with it, to continue to go on and touch people and touch people's lives, because it's a whole different other side than just picking up a microphone, being talent. The real primary goal for an artist and yourself is to handle your business, is to be able to understand how business is. You feel me? That's why that man, I will always salute Eric Eazy-E Wright.
Were you surprised when he was invited to the White House?
I mean, come on, man. You done ruffled some feathers. You done went against the grain. You done tapped into the bohemian experience. You done mess with them. You done mess with Skull's thing. You done agitate the gravity against the system. You damn right. I was not surprised. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. They got to find out what he was about. This, and a lot of people like to turn things into urban legends. Oh, he went to a president. He's a sellout. No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. You feel me? They was making some real noise. N.W.A. was making some controversial noise. So it was a demand. And wow, you got the president's attention. That's how big they were. And you got to think in that time. But no rappers, you know, everybody else now can do what they want and have freedom of speech, which is good in music. But back then, it was so tight-knit. You got to realize these dudes was called niggas with attitudes. Now, that was according to that time. This time is a little bit better because, you know, it's a little bit more open. But that time, it was different. You see what I'm saying? It was like the 50s of the Civil Rights March, but pertaining to rap, though. So it wasn't no surprise. It's just the same question that we can say about Martin Luther King. Are you surprised that Martin Luther King had met with Johnson? So you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because they looked at Martin also not as a peace dude, they looked at him more as a radical. But yet, you had to meet with him because it's overwhelming. And whenever you know what I'm saying, whenever something like that, Bush wanted to meet these dudes, I'm not going to say they wanted to infiltrate them, they wanted to assassinate their whole characters or whatever and do this. But it was different. If you look at it on both sides, now weigh the pros and cons, it's monumental. Here's a dude from Compton. Niggas with attitude met with the president. So I keep an open mind, and I would ask the audience to always keep an open mind that, wow, that was amazing according to that time.
This is a J Mix exclusive.
What up, shut up?